Hey everybody, St. Paul here, and welcome to episode 18 of Music on the Run. This week's guest is percussionist Ramon Yslas. He's played with everybody. He's actually been playing a lot with me and the boys for Funk Fridays, but most recently he's been on the road with the band Chicago. Ramon Yslas is next on Music on the Run. Hey everybody, St. Paul here, and welcome to episode 18 of Music on the Run, the sixth from the Peterson family basement. Yep, I'm still down here. Anyway, my next guest grew up in LA. He's an incredible musician who's worked with people like Aretha Franklin, Jennifer Lopez, and David Sanborn, and now has been touring with the classic rock band Chicago. Please welcome my buddy Ramon Yslas. Hey, how are you? Hey, there you are. I'm going to just pin you on here just because otherwise my video guys will get really mad at me because they're going to have to work extra hard. Welcome.
Oh, well, hey. Hey, video guys, thanks for taking care of us. I'm good, man. I'm rocking and rolling and taking it day by day.
Where are you? You're in LA right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in LA. And I am home, I'm home in LA, and it's been it's been interesting.
What have you been doing for 4 months, Ramon?
Well, I know. Well, I got home like everybody on the road, including you. We all got home like March 14th, 15th or something. And just cooking, hanging with the kids, with the family, working out when I can. Here at the house, I bought the battle ropes, which is awesome.
Did you really?
Dude, I highly recommend that. It's a great workout.
We'll totally get into that in a second, because that's really what I want. We're going to talk music, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to know a bunch of other stuff about that. But you've been home with the family, working out. You've been doing
I have the studio, and I've been doing some recording with, people are sending me tracks, artists are sending me tracks. Been doing the Funk Friday with you, which is amazing. I love it.
So fun, man. Well,
dude,
keep asking you as long as you say yes.
Yes, you know that. All you have to do is just send the tracks. That's it,
man. And so fun.
And cooking, a lot of cooking.
Oh,
experimenting.
I didn't know you were a cook.
To a certain point, I don't get all. I just try to make it look fancy when I post it on Instagram.
You cheat.
So yeah, I cheat. So
You're a liar. Ramon Yslas is a liar.
No. But and just and keeping up on what's happening, and washing my hands, and wearing my face masks, and doing what I'm supposed to do, because I want to get back on the road just like you. We want music to get out there, man. We want to play. So
I can't wait to get back in the same room playing with my friends. We've been doing a lot of stuff online, but man,
dude, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. We need the communication, the vibe, the whole presence, the fans, the everything, the back and forth, look at for what we're doing now. This is how we have to share the music and share the love, and they need it. We need it. The fans need it, and like Chicago just posted the song "Feeling Stronger" every day, a video thing, and
cool.
I love doing it, but then again, you're watching it, and I'm going, I miss my brothers. I miss them. So
how long have you been with Chicago now?
I started March of 2018. Yeah,
what a great
so like 3 years,
man.
It's fun, dude.
Are you having a blast?
Yes, it's the ultimate. I'm part of a rock band, a famous rock band, a rock band that I grew up, you and I grew up listening to, that we know so many songs before I was even in the band. I played them, who knows, hundreds of times. You played them. And when Wally, the drummer, when he called me and said, hey, I just threw your name out to the boys, and can you do some dates? And I was like, let me think about yes, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, of course. And it's been amazing ever since, And,
such a great gig, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I've seen you with that gig. So I have a long history with the band from, I know a lot of the cats in the band as well. So
yeah, they all know you. They all know you.
Well, I can't wait to see you in that chair, man. I guess I have to wait a little while, but.
Well, every time we were near you, you were on the road. So, because remember, I called you. You were out with Peter.
Man, and thank you for that.
Yeah, you were out with Peter, and I was like, get your ass to the venue. You're like, I'm not in town. I was like, okay.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So, since this is Music on the Run, run us through what a typical day looks like to you, because we all need to stay in shape. You look great, by the way. I'm sure it's super physical what you do on stage, but is there any other routines that you go through?
Well, you're talking on the road, correct?
On the road, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start from the night before. Leave. You're done with the show.
Yep.
You get on the tour bus, as you know, and then you head out to the next city, and it could be a 2 to 7, 8 hour drive, depending where you're going. Right. So obviously, movies, you relax, and fall asleep, and then get to the hotel. So my routine usually is waking up. I do even when I'm home, I do a shake for breakfast, right? I've been, I use this product called Lynn Nutrition. It's a friend of mine, Lisa Lynn, whose products, I should turn you on to that, man. It's some really good stuff.
Please.
Is there anything here? Like, one of the cool things I use every day is the Daily Power Shot.
The Linfit Daily Power Shot, Mega Multivitamin.
Dude, it is a mega multivitamin mineral. It's awesome. Seriously. That with the shake and slowly waking up. Of course, my cup of coffee, you always have to have that with you.
Wait, what class is that, Ramon? What class is that?
You should ask. It's the Yslas Avenue mug.
Where can we get something so beautiful?
How funny, you should ask. If you go to my website, which is yslas.com, and you'll see shop, the little icon shop, and there's many a product there you can find. But the cup is one of my favorites.
I must have one. I've got my little Music on the Run one here too.
Oh, I want one of those. I want one of those.
Give you
those
one.
Are awesome.
It costs $20,000 to ship. I hate shipping mugs because they're so expensive. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yes, I know. Okay. That's bad. I know.
So coffee. You've got your protein shake. That's the first thing you do.
And I'm ready.
Vitamin mix.
So usually, if it's a nice day outside, depending on the city, whatever, then I'll go for a long walk. And here's the thing too. Music on the Run listeners, this guy right here has inspired me many times to get my butt out of the hotel room, because he is running. I don't know. What do you do? Like, I just did 9 miles today. and I'm like, what the hell? He's like, all right, I got to get out there. Paul's he's hitting the streets. I'm going to hit the streets.
That's good. That's what it's all about.
Seriously. And I get my, some fresh air and go out, hang out, check out the city, grab a cup of coffee while I'm out.
Yeah, there you
go. And usually by 2:30 or so, then I'll hit the gym just for a little bit. If it's a show night, I won't do too much of a workout, because the show itself for me is a workout, because I'm moving around so much, bouncing, dancing around, So I'll do just like some weights and a little bit of cardio, back to the hotel, take a shower, get a late lunch, and then head out to the venue, and here we go, showtime, So
that's pretty slick, man. And I mean, I remember being on tour, and it's been so much better now, being health conscious with the food and everything like that. But, having pizza and crap around all the time. Do you do better at home or on the road?
I do better on the road, man. I do better on the road, because my goal is to always stay healthy on the road, because the show must go on. If you're running 101 temperature, you can't call in sick, and there's no sub. You got to do the show. So if you're not feeling well, it's like no, I got to stay. And also I try to stay on like eating chicken and vegetables for dinner or late night. Bus food.
Yeah.
Like just grilled chicken is always our manager, Steve, if he doesn't find me like with what do you want to eat, and I said, just get me grilled chicken and veggies. That's it. No starch, just something light, and he's like,
lean.
all right, cool. Yeah. Super lean. And usually when I'm home, then I'll do, let's get some burgers. Let's get, some fried chicken. Well, cause you're home,
Yeah. So what are you doing since you've been home? I mean, you were talking about some bands or something like that, right? Resistant bands or
recording. Well, okay. Chicago's been staying busy. We've been, I've been recording a lot with Robert and Jim Peternick have been writing a lot.
Cool.
And I've recorded like on 4 or 5 songs already with them. And they're cool tunes, man. I mean, if you go to the Chicago website, chicagotheband.com, you'll see a link for music, and 3 of the songs are posted already, and they sound amazing.
Wow.
And Neil, our singer, is on it. Robert, of course, is playing. I'm playing tons of percussion all over it. And they just keep writing. They keep writing. Outside of that, we've been doing the videos, as you've seen.
Yep.
Like kind of what we've been doing. And then, phone calls, we check in on each other, like what's happening, what's the latest, blah, blah, blah. And then outside of that, musically, I've been recording with other artists. People have been sending me tracks, like your buddy Snowman.
Did Snowman send you a track?
He sent me 2 songs, and they're killing. They're killing. I've yet to finish them. Yeah, he's a really good player. I've yet to finish him because last week, oh Lord, I had, I was telling you, I had major computer problems, and
right. Yeah.
It just died, of course, right in the middle of a session. That was
oh my God.
So I was in computer hell for a couple of days, but I'm back. I'm back to normal. And this Latin artist, a singer I know, she sent me yesterday a couple of songs. So I'll be busy the next few days. I have on my plate, about 4 songs to track. And another artist down the street that lives from me, this blues guitar player. So he just sent me 2 songs, and dude, it's, as you know, look at behind you, you have your studio. It's, especially in this time, it's so important to have somewhere to record,
Sure is.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, great, by the way,
I'm in the living room. Oh, thanks. But I would have done the Zoom for my studio, but the Wi-Fi is in and out, and I didn't want to stress your video people on that. And you, so I was like, from the living room, the kitchen. I'm sorry, living room. And then I've been getting really into bike riding, so I've been doing that.
Great.
Yeah.
So you're staying in shape at home too. That's actually where I was leading to. Is that you're still working out and doing that kind of thing at home, huh?
Yeah. Either me and my son go for a long walk, early morning, late night.
Yeah.
And then I do a bike ride around 7:30. I listen to, I'm a big baseball fan, so I listen to Dodger Talk. It's an hour talk show. I headphones and I ride the whole way.
Perfect.
And I do about 8 to 10 miles, depending how fast and how much energy I have,
Right.
So,
right. Well, that's great, man. So you're, for me, I don't know about you, but running for me in this isolation has been such a godsend. I'm telling you, to be able to get out and just kind of work out all the funkiness, and not the good funkiness.
I know.
The weird funkiness that's going on all around us.
Of course. Yeah.
Just it's
very important.
Helps me relieve stress.
Of course. Yeah, I know. Me too. I have to do something. I can't. If I go one day without doing any exercising, it's a hard sleep that night. And we need to sleep. We need to rest. So the stress of what's happening, especially with the COVID, and then all the horrible racism and anger and everything happening around the world, and that combination it's not good for the soul. I mean, it was in your backyard when it started, man. I mean, I was worried about all you guys, about all my people. We were worried about everybody. Yeah.
It's been such a, I don't even know the word for it. That's why I'm struggling to come up with a word. It's been enlightening in one way, because I'm having conversations with my black friends, my brown friends, my whatever you want. I mean, that I normally wouldn't have, because usually when we're on a gig, we just talk about, hey, how's the gig? We don't go, I never stopped to ask you what it's like to grow up.
I know.
Being who you are. And I mean,
and
that's got to be, I'm sure you have stories to tell.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, one of the most beautiful things about music, as we know, there's no separating color. There's no, like, we are, I mean, with us, you and I have such a beautiful opportunity to experience true Black American music with our dear brothers and sisters, because that's the foundation of music. Seriously. I mean,
yes, it is.
The roots of rock and roll, of music, is all about R&B, and it's sad that some of the songs from the 60s are still, are today. The lyrics are today, and about all the changes that were happening back then. But it is a movement. It's such a strong movement that it's happening. It's really happening, and I'm sad to see so many people getting hurt and lives, just murders happening and deaths, but it's leading towards a movement that it's been years in the making and painful, and I feel for many a friend and many all the heartache, all the pain. I found myself just at times just literally like just crying, and I remember the most recent one was the young man Taylor, the one who played violin. Taylor, can't remember his last name. God, he has such a beautiful smile, and when I was seeing those pictures of the beating of him, and then he ends up dying, and that one just broke me down. And I was like, I can't believe it's continuing, but yet I believe it's continuing because it's ugliness that's happening around us, and and it's painful, man. It's painful. It's painful to see.
How is everything in LA right now? I mean, besides you guys being nearly on lockdown, though, how is the writing? How is the sense of the musical community out there? I mean, have you been able to get a read on how people are doing?
Well, I'm not directly in LA. Just below Pasadena. So not too much around me, but when I'm watching the news, like Santa Monica, and the rioting, the protesting. The protesting seems like it's calmed down a little bit. Music wise, there's nothing happening. I mean, live. Right. There are some places in Orange County that have live music, but they're limited on capacity. Obviously, I believe it's less than 50%. That they're allowed. I've yet to do a gig. I haven't been called to do an actual gig,
right?
It's once again the whole COVID thing is people need to wear their masks, dude. People need to be out there wearing a mask. It's been proven. Look at New York City. Look what Cuomo did. They are doing their job. They did it, and I praise all my New York friends. And I'm happy to hear that. And I have a lot of friends out there, and they were telling me it was brutal. It was ugly to see the whole city just shut down, and now it's slowly getting back to a normalcy.
That sure is.
Yesterday, LA just announced a lot of shutdowns again on what is it? Salons, anything indoor, anything indoor, gyms.
Yeah,
they all are shut down again. So it's like people just stay away and wear your mask, please. That's it. We want to get back and make music.
Yeah, we need to get back.
And this is for you. This is for you and for us. We miss playing. We want to get back out there and make you guys smile again. Make me smile.
Right. So let's just. I want to go back now. You grew up in LA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And you're the youngest of 7?
Correct.
I'm the youngest of 5.
Oh, wow.
You and me were the same.
Yeah. No wonder we got along like that. We got along like that.
I know, man. So what's it like growing up with you have brothers and sisters?
I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters, but one of my sisters passed away about 10 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, about 13, 14 years ago now. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So growing up in a household like that, is everybody musical?
Well, let me see. 1, 2, 3 musical. 3 brothers. My brother Gil plays guitar. He lives up north now in Seattle area. And my brother Bill, who growing up, he played pretty much everything, guitar, bass. Now he plays a little percussion around town with some of the bands, the local bands. And then my brother Jerry, who plays guitar, he does a lot of church stuff, which is great, Right. And him and his buddy, great harmonies. And then I grew up listening to all the music that they were listening to.
Which was what?
Which was all the 70s, 60s, 70s rock and roll, man.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Chicago by any chance?
Dude, I knew CTA, every song, every vocal, everything about that album by the age of 7, 6. So my brothers had bands in high school, which puts me at around 7, 8 years old, right? They were either junior high school or high school, but they would rehearse at our house. We had this huge back room, which is like a family room.
Okay.
So all their musician friends would set up the gear and leave it there, and they would rehearse 2 or 3 nights a week. We're talking full-on band, massive band, 2 guitars, keyboards, horn sections, 3 singers, everything. So I would get behind the drum set when they weren't home and put the headphones on and put the music on and play and try to play along. Because I would just sit there and watch them rehearse and trip out, like, how are they making music, hitting that instrument or playing that guitar? Mm-hmm. I was more interested in watching them do what they were doing outside of hearing the song. And then those 2 elements came together. Then I remember one day I rushed home to beat my brothers so I can get behind the drum set. Like, literally, I was running home. I was like, they're not going to get home for another 45 minutes. So that day, my brother got home while I was behind the kit, because they always told me, do not touch the instruments. Don't touch. Did you touch my drum set?
Don't touch my drum.
And I freaked out when I saw him walk in the room.
Right.
And he said, no, keep playing. My brother said, keep playing. Because he was like, you could play. And I was just playing the 2 and the 4.
Sure.
Whatever song I was playing along with the headphones. And that was pretty much the beginning of, like, the drum calling me, so to speak, right? Like wanting to play. And here's a story about that too. My brother Bill, who found me hitting the kit, maybe I don't know, maybe about a year or so later, he was him and his girlfriend, which is now my sister-in-law, were headed to a concert. It was a Friday night, and everybody's in the house just hanging out. And my mom asked my brother, "Where are you guys going?" And he said, "We're going to go see a band at the Greek Theater. We're going to go see Chicago at the Greek." Man. And I stood up, because that was my favorite band back then already. Right. I stood up and I ran to the door and I blocked the door. And I said, "You can't go unless you take me." And my brother said, "We only have 2 tickets." And dude, and I remember, like, my sister-in-law said, "You started crying, like, no, you have to take me. You have to take me." So she said, "All right, we'll exchange the 2 tickets and hopefully get a 3rd ticket. But we have to go to the theater to try to do it, to the Greek." Mm-hmm. Dude, I jumped in the car. We get to the Greek. They had great seats. They had 2 great seats, like dead center, maybe row 10 or something. The only 3 tickets available were against the wall, way in the back.
Right.
So we got those 3, and that was my very first concert. And my very first concert was Chicago. So
unbelievable. What
crazy,
are the odds that you get the gig however many years later?
Yeah, I know. It wasn't even in my thought process, not even when I started working as a musician. I mean, I was like, God, it would be great to play the song, but never to be a part of the band. I remember years ago, I had mentioned to Wally, because Wally was playing percussion, and then Tris was on drums.
Playing drums, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I told Wally, man, if if by any chance you end up on kit, I said, because you never know what happens. I said, call me.
Well,
and
you
Wally
have
goes,
to put it
wow.
out there, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. You had to put it out there in the stars, man. You had to put it in the universe. And Wally, years later, I must have told Wally that like 7 years ago when he first got in the band.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and now, dude, we were supposed to be on the road right now.
I know. Well, they are road dogs, man. That I'll give them.
Dude, they've been touring for 51 years straight.
Who wins?
Well, 52
Tower of Power or Chicago in the touring? I mean, they're both neck and neck.
Yeah,
they're on the road
you're right.
all the time. It's just,
and that's the first thing Robert told me when he said, "Welcome to the band." He said, "Look, welcome to the band. We're happy to have you here." He goes, "There's only one thing I ask of you." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Get ready, because this band works." And I said, "Start the bus. Start the bus. Let's go." But
you're not afraid of work.
Let's do it, man. Come on.
All right. So before we keep in the present, let's go back. So you went and saw Chicago. When did you get the opportunity to start playing some gigs, and how did that transpire?
Well, I think, so first of all, we love music growing up. So then I started getting, as I got into my teenage years and able to drive, I started going more and more to the Baked Potato, to see live music, right?
By the way, those of you who don't know what the Baked Potato is, it's a very famous club in Los Angeles where the greatest musicians get to go play.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to explain that.
No, of course. It's in North Hollywood, and it's like one of the oldest clubs we have. And we're talking like from the late 60s or early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's the early 70s since the club existed. So I would go. Well, first of all, I was already playing. I was playing in high school bands, playing drum set. Actually, I was playing drum set. I was about in 7th, 8th grade playing with a group of seniors from a high school.
Right.
It was a band that needed a drummer, and somebody said, "Hey, I know this kid, but he's a 7th grader, or, he's 13 years old, and these are 17-year-olds." And so I remember like auditioning, I guess, and they were like, "Yeah, I mean, let's play." So it was a rock band. We were just covers, and I remember one time we played at a club, an 18 and over club, because the guys were 18, and yet I was 14, and we're playing, and the crowd loved it. And as soon as we were done, the owner came over and said, "Okay, you have to leave, because I just found out you're 14 years old, so you have to leave." So he literally like escorted me out of the club, and the guys in the band were like, "Well, we don't want to leave yet, so can you just hang out? I mean, we're going to hang out." And I was like, "Oh." So I just sat outside, waiting for them to come out, because I was 14. I mean, I didn't
want to
know
lose his liquor license, I suppose.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I waited outside.
I think there's a lot of us who kind of snuck in.
Yeah,
under
of course.
the wire doing that stuff.
Of course we did. Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but somebody told them I was 14, and so I was playing, doing that. And then as I got into my teenage years, I met, you just start meeting more people in the industry. Mm-hmm. So then slowly I started getting into the Latin scene, where, when I decided to switch over to percussion, then I started taking percussion real serious, like I started studying with Luis Conte, the famous Luis. I started studying with him. Then I took lessons from different Cuban percussionists, and then I started buying the gear. I remember I went, saved some money, bought a whole mess of gear, and then started doing little Latin gigs around town. And then I met this producer who was dealing with a lot of the higher end artists of the Latin market. So then he would ask me, "Hey, do you want to do this date?" And then I was like, "You're making $50 on a local date." And he's like, "It pays $300 for a 40-minute show." And I was like, "What? That's awesome. Yes, I'm in." So we started touring, and then I was kind of doing the whole Latin market for a little bit. Not too major of Latin artists, but some good ones, like doing theaters and everything, and little tours, not long tours. And that just started snowballing into other opportunities. Like then I met Ricky Minor.
Oh yeah.
And Ricky, this is in the late 90s, I believe, when I met Ricky. And this is funny. So I recorded with a band called 98 Degrees on the song called Una Noche, which was like a radio hit for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that they were going to tour. I was in New York, and then I found out, they're going to start touring. I was like, I played on that song. So I was like, who's in charge of putting the band together? So they told me Ricky Minor. So I was like, I don't know who that is. I hunted him down, called the union.
Yeah.
And then I got a hold of him. And Ricky was funny. Ricky said, he goes, who are you? And I said, my name's Ray Yslas. I play percussion. I live in LA. And he goes, look, I know everybody here in LA. And he goes, I never heard of you. And I said, well, not yet. You haven't heard of me yet. And then he started laughing. He was like, all right, well, he goes, can you send me something? And this was around the time where the internet was kind of exploding and websites, emails, all that. So I had a website already going. My buddy, Dave Hooper, you probably know Dave Hooper, drummer.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. He's a web designer as well. Like he knows everything about that. So he created my website. We were on the road with the Rippingtons back then, where literally in the back of the bus, he was putting my website together. And I was like shocked. Wow, this is so cool, a website, So then when I got a hold of Ricky Minor, I told Ricky, well, you can look me up on the internet. And he goes, you have a website? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, let me look you up right now. And he said, all right, cool. All right. He goes, okay, come down tomorrow. And I said, tomorrow? He goes, yeah, come down to center staging. I'm auditioning musicians for the gig. And I said, okay, what time? And he told me the time, and I showed up and was playing. Sam Sims was on bass.
Oh, sure. He's great.
Sam. Yeah. Teddy Campbell was on drums. Yep. Who else? The guitar player from New York was the MD. And I forgot who else, the keyboard player, another LA guy. So that was the beginning of me working with Ricky Minor, pretty much. And then that band, dude, all we did was promo for 6 months with 98 Degrees.
Ooh.
6 months of just strict promo with a show here and there, a Disney show, another TV show. And then that ended. And then I started immediately, like 2 weeks later after that, with the Backstreet Boys.
Did you?
And then we did that.
I auditioned for the Backstreet Boys at one of those Ricky Minor cattle calls.
Oh, you did?
I sure did.
Oh, right on. Maybe I met you.
Gig.
Oh, I think Sam Sims ended up doing the gig with us.
Of course. Yeah. I don't even know if it was for that tour. It might have been a subsequent.
It might have been a different one. Might have been a different, because that band.
You started rolling with the boy bands.
Yeah, I did the boy band for we did with Backstreet. We did over like 120 shows, and we should have done more, but then 9/11 happened, and the boys didn't want to tour anymore. They were like, no, we're done. After 9/11, we went to Japan, and then that was it. And then we were done. And they started up like a year later. But then from there, I did little things here and there, working with, still working with Ricky, like with Patti LaBelle. And then he put me on Christina Aguilera. And then I was working with Christina on 2 tours after that. So
you're telling me stuff great. I don't know about you, which is really great.
Yeah, I mean, cool. I got to record with Christina. I recorded on Ain't No Other Man on that song. Oh,
really?
Man. When I was called into the studio and I tracked on that song, I remember coming home and thinking, that's a Grammy Award winning song right there. Mm-hmm. That is, she's going to explode. That's a #1 tune. And sure enough, it was, took it to a whole different level, man. That tour, we went everywhere after that tour.
So you went on the road with her as well.
Yeah, I did 3 tours with her.
Golly, man.
3 long tours. Yeah. But man, with Christina, when we would go out, we would stay out for 9 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And my kids, I remember Diego was like 1, and he didn't know me when I got home,
So
he was
this is such an important part to share with, people who are up and coming, and how you manage and navigate being on the road while having a young family, having your wife back at home. How does that work? How did that work for you?
And it has its moments. I got to be honest, man. There's times where you're on the road and you're in Europe. It's a Sunday. It's raining and it's a day off, and you're just walking around and you're like, oh, I miss the family. I wish I wish the kids were here. I wish I was home with the kids. But then you go back in your mind. You're like, well, I'm working. There's a reason why I'm working, and money needs to be put away for their education, future education, and that always was the balance. You make that call back home. That always helped. And then eventually it got into this type of communication, to video communication,
Thank God
which made
for this.
yeah. I mean, seriously,
makes things a lot easier.
I mean, dude, you remember being on the road where you had to find a payphone.
Oh yeah. My kids don't even know what that is now.
I tell Gabby, my 14-year-old, I tell her, I remember like stopping somewhere in Germany and asking the guys, you have any coins? Any coins? Because I want to call back. I said, I was trying to get a hold of your mom just to say hi. And you're hoping she's going to answer because it's a payphone to a home phone. It wasn't a cell phone. So,
of course not. Not yet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not yet.
Some people had them, but I think they were ungodly expensive back in those days.
Oh yeah, they were. It was insane. One of the very very first cell phones I saw, portable phones, I should say, not even cell phone. I was doing a session, and Wally was on the session.
Okay.
Back then, I think he was with Santana, and he showed up to the session with like a big old purse. He's carrying it. And I was like, what are you carrying, dude? And he goes, oh, check it out. And he goes, my wife got me this because she was pregnant at the time. And she was like in month 8, almost to the week's possible birth. And he goes, it's a phone. So if she starts having pain or needs to go to the hospital, she can call me. Dude, the phone, like, it was like MASH, like if you look at them when they call, it was like all connected. And I was like, that's a phone. I said, man, that must have been expensive. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he goes, it's definitely pricey, man. So, yeah, he carried it. It was like this big, man.
That's the history of it. I wish I would have saved all those old phones, man.
Oh, I know, right?
Perfect.
I know. Yeah, my favorite was a little flip one.
I think I still have one sitting around the house here. That one I think I did save.
Yeah,
so you're working with you're touring all the time with all the biggest acts at this point.
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, then you're home because when you do it, like you do a tour with let's say artists like Christina, artists like Backstreet, right. They don't go out every year. They do the tour, and then they have to come out with an album, and then they do the tour, and that could take easily, 8 months to 18 months for another tour to happen. Right. So then you're home and then you're like, all right, I got to get on the session market or I have to find something else, and, it's nice that with Chicago, that's, you don't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about like, okay, we're done. Now let me find something else. It's like, we're busy. You have 2 months off maybe, and then you're back on the road or you have dates. It's like, things pop up. Yes, it was great. Definitely great, and still is great to have those names. I can throw on the website and list. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, really, one of my very first experiences, especially of touring, was working with a band called Dakota Moon, which was 4 guys who all sang, and they're African American guys, and they did like a rock country type thing with influences of blues and pop, right? And they were with Elektra Records, and Elektra put them on priority, world priority, which meant, like I remember the manager said, don't accept any other work because we're going to get busy, like next week, busy. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just the 4 of them, and me and Cajon and Congas. That's it. Yeah. And then we would do dates around LA, but good dates, like Hollywood parties type stuff, record company things. And then when so they ended up, the first thing I think we ended up getting was opening for Eric Clapton in Oakland. in Oakland, and then another one in San Francisco, and then San Diego. It was only like 3 or 4 dates. So then they wanted to make the band a little bit bigger. So they added a keyboard player and a drummer. And that's where Teddy Campbell came in, because Teddy was from Chicago. So Teddy came in and started doing that. And then I got on full percussion. Dude, it exploded. We're talking the mid-90s. It exploded. We ended up, basically, we circled the globe twice, like in one tour. You know,
unbelievable.
Like, I'm not kidding. It was like I had a ticket. Well, back then, you know, you still had tickets, right? The actual
paper
tickets. My ticket book was like that thick. And when the tour manager handed it to me, she said, "Do not lose this," because you flip through it and it said LA to New York to London, you know, London to Paris, and then Paris to Germany, and then you're in Germany for like 2 weeks.
You lose that ticket stack, you're
screwed.
That's like losing money.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, you know, going through it, and then it said Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and then it said Japan to LA, and that was coming home. That was like home. And then when we got home, she handed me at the airport another stack of tickets, just like that. Before your baggage claim, right?
Right.
And she handed me that one, and that one was in reverse, like back to Japan and circling, coming all the way back home. You know, it was
work if you can get it, man. Wow,
dude, it was insane. And then they were just promoting the first album. It was fun, man. It was that I think was my true first experience of being outside of the States and experiencing the world. You know, everything. You know. And that was amazing, man. That just opened your mind. You know, I tell my kids, especially my daughter, is like, some of the best education you can get is by traveling. You know, and as you know, as you and your whole family know, it's like you meet, you experience cultures, you respect the cultures, you have incredible food, unbelievable food. You know, and you meet wonderful people while you're doing it.
I totally agree with you, and by traveling, I think that we gain a better understanding of each other through interacting with each other and engaging in different cultures, so that we aren't freaked out by things and afraid of things, and whether we look different or whether the traditions are different. Yeah. If you are open to that it will set you up and set the world up for such a peaceful journey. I mean, for me, traveling has just been incredible. I mean, I agree. We are so lucky that we've done that. And maybe that's what insulates the music community. I feel is a little insulated from what's going on in the world, just because we speak the same language. We love on each other. We respect all the music. And it's just been an amazing gift to travel and experience those things.
I agree. And you know, one of the most, when I decided, like, to myself, as what you did and Ricky and your whole family did, when you decide, that's it, I want to be a musician, you know, this is what I want to do. You also told yourself, I want to travel and experience music from other cultures. I want to hear what radio sounds like in, you know, Switzerland or in, you know, Istanbul, or I mean, and that was always my thing. The first thing I want to do is turn on that radio in the room and change the channels and hear what's going on music wise. Like, what do they listen to? What are you hearing? You know, like the very first time I went to South Africa. Oh man, I was just blown away with all the music. I was in heaven, and I remember, and that's when I went to Dakota Moon. We went to Joburg and the other city by the water, further South Africa. It was just so powerful, and it was all about the culture. Like anywhere in Latin America you go to, you're going to hear their music on the radio. It wasn't happening in the States back then. You know, I mean, now you can get it. Now you can get it through Spotify and iTunes, or you can order the music. But back then, you had to be there in order to hear what's going on. You know, and that when I told myself this is what I want to do, and then I told myself, and you speak to it internally, you don't say it out loud. I said I want to travel internationally. I want to get out. I want to play music somewhere else. A week later, I got called to do the Dakota Moon gig, which took me out of the country, and that was the first time I left. I went to Germany, and I was nervous. I was in my early 20s. I was like,
it is nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and I had to go by myself. I had to fly by myself, take a taxi to the hotel by myself, check in, because the guys weren't there. The guys were in a different city, and they were coming in the next day. They were like, we're going to meet there in Hamburg. First time going to Hamburg. Oh, and let me tell you something about culture. So I'm in Hamburg, and time change. I couldn't sleep, so I went to the front desk and I said, must have been like 1, 2 in the morning, maybe 1. And I said, is this a safe city to walk around at this hour? And the front desk girl, she starts laughing. She goes, of course, you're in Hamburg. It's beautiful. And she goes, go look at the city. And it was warm. It was a warm night. So, dude, I just started walking around. So I come to an intersection, crossing the street. And I was telling my daughter this story recently. I was, just got to the intersection. There was a guy, holding his bike, like a bicycle pedal bike, waiting for the light to change. And then I looked at him. I said, do you speak English? And he's nodded. And he goes, yes. And he goes, very little, very little. And I said, oh, I said, I'm getting hungry. Is there, food, anything open, food? And he goes, oh, and he goes, follow me. So walking, and we started talking, right? And I find out he was from somewhere in India. I forgot where.
Wow.
He was there. He was like, dude, he was much younger than me. He was there to go to school and was working 3 jobs to send money back home, to get working 3 jobs, going to school in the morning. And it was like 1, 2 in the morning. He had to be up at 5 to go work and then take his classes and then go to his other job, And he goes, like, same routine. So I was like, wow, how cool. And he goes, what do you do? Musician from Los Angeles. Oh, I love music. And so we're walking. Dude, we were walking for like 20 minutes. I'm like, where's this guy taking me, man? We're passing up joints, and he goes, no, follow better place. Okay. I'm trusting him. We walk. So he stops and he goes, here. He goes, very good food. And it was a McDonald's. He's pointing me to. And I started laughing. I said, all right. I said, come on in. Dinner's on me. I said, I'll buy you dinner. And he goes, oh, okay. So we went in and we talked some more. And we did write each other's addresses down, but we never stayed in contact. But it was just like, it was just a great experience of a culture in another culture, and find out what people are doing for their families.
Right.
That was a big shock to me. I mean, it was a big culture shock, a big coming from here, from LA, where that I if I didn't want to work at that age, I could live with my parents and I'd be fine.
Right. People's journeys are so interesting. Again, that what it boils down to in what we said earlier is, how do we advance if we aren't talking to each other?
True.
The bottom line, man, is that we just got to engage. And that's there's fear in that too.
Yeah.
What if he doesn't want to talk to me? What if she, whatever the case may be.
I mean, I'm sure you're the same way too. You're the same way when you're on the road, because
absolutely I am.
Yeah.
I want to get out. I want to run in the city. I mean, when I was, the last big tour I did was with Brampton in 2016, and I remember ran everywhere, as you stated earlier.
Yeah.
I felt like an old man because I had my AM radio going on in my head, running through the city by myself. It's just like, but I tell you what, man, I saw the cities by staying in shape and engaging in what was going on, whether it was Nolans or anywhere. I tell you what, the training in the South in the summer is not fun.
Oh, no, I would walk out. I would walk out and I'd be like, oh God, okay, this is going to be a short walk. I'm just going to get some coffee, but then I wanted to be outside, but then I realized, no, I have to save my energy for the show tonight. So get back to my room and chill.
So what's the toughest thing about being on the road for you?
Rest.
Okay.
Getting enough proper rest, because your body, the time, everything changes. You don't go to sleep at a normal hour, and you don't wake up at a normal hour. I like I said, sometimes the drive may be 2 hours where you can be in your actual bed at 2 a.m. Or sometimes you don't get to the hotel till 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and you have to sleep. So then you're blocking out the curtains, you're making sure nobody turn off. And I don't like turning off my phone, because if anything, I want to know what the kids are up to. I want to know, like, if somebody, the manager, Steve, needs to get a hold of me for some reason, I don't turn off my phone. I leave it on, and it's just getting enough rest, because, and of course, in staying healthy, that comes with it. Rest, you don't sleep, you're going to get sick. I've done 2 or 3 shows where I have been like, let me just get through this show, please, because I just wasn't feeling well. I remember Robert told me one time, he said, hey man, if you gotta bounce, if your stomach isn't right, and don't worry about it, just do it, and he goes, we've all done it.
Right.
We've all done it, where you gotta go and come back. Nobody's gonna trip on it. And he goes, nobody's gonna be upset about any of that. He goes, and he, guys, the Jimmy, Lee, Robert, the principals, they're like so cool about everything, as long as you get the job done, obviously, but that's,
You are one of the funniest guys I know, first of all. And you're such a great
brother.
No, I mean, every second of the day. And Ricky tells me stories, because you've toured with my brother, Ricky. You and I
God.
We haven't had the pleasure of touring together.
We haven't yet. Exactly. We will.
Yet. We will. But that's going to happen.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Ricky, when me and Ricky are in a room, man, it's non-stop silliness,
Well, that's what's so fun about that.
And man, I love it. I love it. It keeps you young, man. It keeps you going. And I miss your brother. I miss him so much. One of the first times I met Ricky was working with Stevie Nicks. Back then, Lenny Castro was doing the George Lopez show, right?
Right.
So then Stevie started doing some promo dates. I don't know for what. It was for the new album. And Lenny couldn't leave the George show, right? Or they really didn't like him leaving, And so then Waddy calls me up and he's like, hey, man, I need you to sub for Lenny with Stevie Nicks. And I was like, hell yeah, I mean, cool.
Yeah, you're right.
So I went in and Ricky was on the gig. And from the very get-go, from like the moment we started talking, we were hanging hard, rehearsals and then the TV show. And then weeks later, I think I did 2, covered for Lenny for 2 shows. And then Lenny, but here's the funny thing is like Lenny would go back to Stevie. Then I got called to sub for him for the George Lopez show.
You got to be.
So we would go back and forth,
Wow.
And then the tour came up. Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I was like, whatever. I mean, it's work. Either one is fine. And then weeks later, I started doing the David Sanborn gig, and Ricky was on the David Sanborn gig,
Right.
And
that's a small
then
world now.
We were on the road, Dave. I mean, you've worked with Dave many a time. So, and then that's where I met you at the Dakota, where you came out and hung out with us, and Ricky would just. You got to meet my brother Paul. You got to meet Paul. He's amazing. And I was like, wait a minute, that's your brother? I know of Paul. I didn't put it together. I said, now I see the resemblance. And so I obviously knew from you back in the Prince, that whole time frame, man. You on the album cover, everything with Morris Day and that whole thing. Yeah, man.
Let's see, it's over there somewhere.
There it is, right behind you.
It's a little kid in the orange suit somewhere up here.
Yes, right there. Yes.
I can't fit in that suit anymore, mind you, but
it's funny you said that. That's my goal, is to get my weight back down to, where am I at 161, to get it like at 153, but like a firm 153.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's never going to happen for me, because I was this big and hadn't grown into my body when I was 17 doing that. So there's no hope of that. So
you were 17? Wait. You were 17 those days?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
You were living large.
Graduated high school and then went and worked with those guys.
You were living large back then, man. Look at that.
I didn't even know what I had. I was like,
I know,
okay,
right? Yeah.
sure, I'll do this. You know how that goes.
And
You're just going to
funky.
step to the next thing. So, yes, we need to tour. We need to hang out, and we're going to continue to do these Funk Friday things.
Amen.
Before I let you go, you're an educator as well.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so, all right, so I was studying music. The first place I studied music was at Pasadena City College, which is very close to me. And I got to know a lot of great musicians coming out of there, and I still keep in touch with them. And the teachers were just phenomenal as well, like real players, real jazz cats. So, okay, now fast forward, graduated from the school and mailman just arrived, graduated from the school. Then I just happened to be driving by one day. And I was like, I got an hour to kill. I want to go see if Dr. Killian, the director, is there. He's a great person, right? So I walk into his office. He's like, Ray, what's going on? Oh my God, what you been up to? And I told him, I've been playing with so-and-so and so-and-so. And then he offered me, he said, I have a position opening up for teaching Latin percussion. And he goes, and it was like in 10 days.
No kidding.
And I said, well, I said, I don't have a bachelor's or a master's, I don't have that. And he said, no, but what you have is experience. And I need the kids to understand experience as well. Right. And he goes, put together a syllabus for me. And I was like, what's that? He said, this is what he gave me an example. This is what I need from you. Work on that. So I was like, okay, walked in, started teaching Latin percussion like that. I had a class of about 20 students, and it was twice a week. And then it started evolving into other opportunities came up. The history of rock and roll course, the teacher, she needed to visit family back east. So she asked me to sub for her for 2 weeks. And now we're talking a class that meets every day, right? And it's the history of rock and roll. And she gave me like, here's everything,
This thick.
Yeah. So, yeah. And dude, teaching that class was so much fun because, we're talking about there's audio and video and lecture. And I had like 60 plus students in a lecture hall, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, have one remote audio, one remote video ready to go. And then we're talking about Little Richard. We're talking about the time frame of the Beatles. Like the Beatles was a whole week, which is awesome.
Right.
And then she came back and she took her class, right? And then I got, then the music business class came up. And it's like, do you want that class? And I was like, and I said, once again, I don't have the master, because, you need a master's to teach, right? And the director, now new director came in. Killian retired and a new guy came in. And he told me, no, man, it's important for the students to know what's real. So I told him day one, I said, look, the business changes every day, every week. Stuff happened 2 hours ago. That's not happening now. Right. I said, but you have to be thick-skinned. You have to roll with the changes. You got to be ready to just do what's needed for the situation, for the song, for the musical director. You have to be a team player. And if you can't do any of this, this is not for you. I said, this is not the field you want to be in. Yeah.
No, I'm so glad you boiled it down to if you cannot handle this criteria, this is not for you.
Yeah.
And I prided myself on doing that. I'd like, if you don't want this, and this is not easy.
Yeah.
This is not, it just is not easy.
Yeah. It's not, I tell them you're going to work. If you want to work, you're going to work a lot. If you want time off, I said, be careful with that. Don't give yourself like a couple of days off. Don't give not right now, not when you're trying to get established and create a name. Right. I said, take everything. I tell my students, take everything you can and do what you can. If it's good music, if it's a good friend, and do it for free. Why not? What are you going to do? If you have 3 hours, do it. I said, you'll be rewarded later on it.
That's so true. Sometimes you don't know why you're doing a gig. You're shaking your head going, this is not great, but somebody's listening. Somebody listen, and another opportunity will come out of this.
I mean, look at places. You are the classic example of that. And I just spoke about that to this young drummer I know. I said, man, I've been doing this Funk Friday with my buddy. We've done it 3 times. I said, all of a sudden, boom, Snowman gives me a session. Right. And it's his album.
Right.
It's like, I heard you playing with Paul. It sounds amazing. Like me and Paul are brothers, we're family. We do anything we can for each other. And it's like, wow, Paul got me a gig. That's awesome.
I love that. Because really awesome. It came out of a hang, and who knows really what that's for other than the brotherly connection and to play some music. But
yeah,
the byproduct is great that it's a gig.
It's awesome. I mean, you never know why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And also I tell the students, just, the main thing is networking and roll with the changes. If you can do those 2 things, you're fine. You'll make it. And obviously practice your instrument. Learn. One of the best things I've ever heard was like, learn the foundation, learn the history of the instrument, and then make it your own. And then as soon as you make it your own, you'll become a working musician and learn every style of music possible. That's it. And you know what? I asked Robert Lamb, because Robert, I didn't audition for Chicago, right? I did not audition. They just said, okay, let's do it. They send me the music. I learned the music. Now it's different, as when you're listening to music and you love the song.
Yeah,
it's awesome. But then when you have to play it, it's a different approach, because you have to learn it.
Yes, you do. You have to go back because you might have learned it and played it wrong for 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, or you're in your car singing along going, hell yeah, air drums and everything. Yep. And then you're like, wait a minute. No, on this section, there's no drums. It's tambourine. Okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I made little cheat notes for myself for the first 2 shows, right? And I'm looking at and I'm playing, and Robert's right here to my left and Wally's to my right. So I'm playing, looking at the cheat notes. And then Robert, after the first show, he said, man, it sounds great. And he goes, but do me a favor. Don't use the cheat notes tomorrow night. And he goes, because it looks like you're reading music. And he goes, this is rock and roll. This is like, look at, none of us are reading music. We all know the song. He goes, let it get into your soul. And if you make mistakes tomorrow, so what? And he goes, so what? Don't worry about it. And I was like, what a beautiful approach, beautiful. And then I did. I put my little charts, left them in the room, and I was all nervous.
It's a little bit of a crutch. I understand for sure.
Yeah. But then I asked Robert, I said, man, it's crazy. I didn't even audition. And Robert said, oh no, you did. You did audition. We sat around and watched a performance you did with David Sanborn. And,
no kidding.
And he said, oh man, the guy plays with Sanborn and they all love Sanborn. He was like, that was a ticket for me. As soon as I saw you playing with Sanborn, I was like, he's in. I was like, awesome. And I told Dave that story. I told Dave Sanborn that story. And he was like, he's a big Chicago fan too. I was trying to get him to come out and hang out with us when we were in New York last time.
I think I'm going to get Dave on this next Funk Friday, by the way.
Dude,
well, you know how that goes. I mean, he's threatening. Let's put it that way. And he's going to do the show.
Excellent.
He and I have been keeping in touch because, well, I mean, I played in a band so many years ago, but it's fun that you and I have that connection as well.
Dude, if you get Dave on Funk Friday, you got to get me on that one, dude.
I do. Yeah. Oh, and wait till you hear the new one, man. It's funky.
Well, they're all amazing, man. Every single one is amazing.
We've got, what we got to do is we got to put out a record of, I've got 19 of these things, 19 1-minute songs.
Perfect.
Why not? I'll come to LA and then we'll have the Funk Friday with the LA contingency. I'll go to New York with the Funk Friday. Why not? And then we'll just extend the 1-minute song.
Exactly. And then it becomes a jam. Come on. That's actually a great idea. That's a great idea, Paul. Yeah.
So I'm coming for you as soon as they let me.
Well, get on the plane, man. Just wear your mask and you'll be fine.
Ramon, you've been such a cool guest to have on the show. And
thank you, brother.
For saying,
I love you, man.
Yes, I appreciate it.
And the family? How's the family?
Everybody's good. I've got my daughter here from LA. She goes back tomorrow.
And, okay.
My other daughter lives here, so they made my wife and I dinner last night.
Beautiful.
Everyone is healthy. We're very blessed, man.
Amen.
And yours?
Everybody's great. Yeah, man. Please say hello to them. And yeah, brother, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm glad we did this. And I'm here for you. Thanks
for taking the time out. We're going to do a lot more music together. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Ramon Yslas, everybody. That is episode 18 from The Basement. That's right. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Ramon. Go. We out.
Thank you, brother. We out. Woo.
Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Edited and produced by my buddy Davide Raso. Video editing by Ivan Sebastianov. And a very special thanks to the people who financially support this podcast. And remember, always run the hills.